Welcome back, everybody. Great to be back. Great to be back on Zoom. um, I hope you had a good break. I really did. I had a lot of family coming in from far away, and so okay. Amy's clapping. Okay, so yeah, so I'm ready to get going again. Um, so the one of the most basic teachings, or I should say foundational practices in Taoist meditation, which is really what this is body, breath, and mind. And I say that a lot. I say that every time. And the reason is because that's really what we have. That's really what we have to work with when we're doing these practices. So we have the body, we have the breath, we have the mind, and that pretty much includes everything. And of course, they interconnect because we're also aware of our environment, and that comes through the senses, which are part of the body, and then it's filtered through the mind, and everything's connected with the breath. So, for instance, if we get really angry, that changes our breath, changes our breathing. And at the same time, if we enter into certain meditative states, then that affects our breath, and vice versa. So by paying attention to the body and the breath and the mind, what we do is we develop our awareness. Okay, so just in this vocabulary, just like we can be aware of the feeling in our foot, in our body, and we can be aware of the air coming and going, we can also be aware of the mind. Okay, so this is profound because awareness is bigger. It's bigger than the mind. Okay, and this is confusing to us in the West, but to be able to be aware of the mind is really key to these practices. And so by being aware of body and being aware of breath and being aware of mind, what we're doing is we're developing and establishing our awareness. Okay, and so, and a lot of teachers call that presence, or present moment awareness, you could say. It just means that these three sort of realms are available, and we're aware of what's going on. So one thing we do in prison, if we have people who are who have experienced a lot of violence in their lives, and they say something like, well, I have anger issues or something like that, you can start at either body, breath, or mind. And breath is a really good place to start. So, because if you can monitor your breathing, then if you're starting to get angry, because it changes your breath, and it changes the feeling in your body. And so these are really direct ways of approaching, and it very, very effective, rather than trying to figure everything out. So that's just a kind of a long-winded thing about body, breath, mind, and the basket that they're all in, which is awareness. And so for this class, we're going to focus on breath particularly, and they teach in Qigong. They teach what they call reverse breathing. Okay, and so we'll get into that and why that is. But just all we need to remember is the movements that we're doing are in harmony with our breath. That's all. Not how we're breathing, or whether we're breathing in or whether we're breathing out. Just we're moving in harmony with our breath. Okay, so See, I got the recording going and I got to change the view for the YouTube. Okay. All right. So good. Good to see everybody. And here we go. So we always begin with body, because in some way the body is really fundamental. It's very grounding. And the name of this is Breathing Earth Qigong. And the body is the earth breathing, okay, which simply means that the body is made up entirely of the elements of the earth, and it's breathing. So you just take your position, and just what we say, drop into it. And it just means feel the body, that's all. And you can start at the bottoms of the feet. That's a really good place to start because it's easy to feel that. And that's our connection to the earth. Okay. And then you extend the awareness of the body and you feel the whole body. Okay. So the awareness of body is feeling. That's how we know it's here. Okay. And then once we've established that, which may only just take a few seconds, then we become aware of the movement in the body, which is the breath. And it's fine to intentionally alter the breath. By that I mean, it's useful to take a deep breath and then a long exhale. It's very therapeutic. Okay, let's do that a few times. And while you're doing it, notice the effect that has on the body. In other words, how does the body feel when you take a deep breath? Okay, and just as we can intentionally breathe in a certain way, we can intentionally feel the body. So on the out breath, we just relax the body. You just say, relax. Okay. And the in breath, we enliven the body. It kind of goes up. Okay. And the out breath just kind of goes down. So by just being aware of the breath, we're already relaxing and enlivening the body because they're connected. So in addition to this uplift with the in-breath, this expansion, sort of stretching with the in-breath, and then the relaxing with the out-breath, that's kind of an up and down thing. Then there's also this in and out, this like balloon-like movement that's going on too in the lungs and in the whole body. So if we just, so take a deep breath in, body expands, out, then we can breathe out through the skin and sort of expand outwards with the out breath, and then come back in, kind of compress with the in breath. So, and then you can use the hands. So out breath, in breath, out breath, expanding in all directions, in breath, concentrating in the body, out breath, okay, very good. Now let's reverse it. Now with the in breath, we're going to expand. Out breath, we're going to compress. So you can bend the knees a little bit. Okay, and then use the mind to feel and imagine expanding in all directions. And then compressing from all directions into the torso. Okay, and so sit down, stand up. Okay, let's pause. And now let's reverse again. So when we breathe out, we're going to expand. In, out. Okay, very good. Now just let go of any idea of breathing in or out with any movement, and just do the movement and the breathing. Just move with the breath without regard for whether it's in or out. Okay, now let's reduce the movement. And then bring one hand in front of the belly, the other in front of the chest. And then let them rest on your breath body, what the Buddha called the breath body, which is bigger than the physical body. So with the in-breath, when the body expands, the hands move out. Out breath, they move back in a little bit. Okay, very good. Now reverse. And on the out breath, expand. In breath, come back in. You can bend the knees a little so there's a little up and down at the same time that there's this expansion and relaxation. Okay, now let go of in-breath and out-breath and just do the movement. Sit down a little bit, move the hands, and just breathe. Okay, let's reduce the movement. Allow the breath to settle down. Can you feel now as you're breathing, can you feel as if you're moving? So you're aware of not only the breath in the body, but the space around the body. You're now aware of the body moving, the lungs, the torso, and the space around at the same time. Now the breath is moving the body. And the breath is blowing through the body. Let the breath settle down and then return to standing. Take a deep breath, relax. Okay, can you feel the tingling in your hands and in your body? Okay, can you feel the tingling of the air touching the skin? Okay, this tingling quality, this is the life force energy that's in all living things. It's moving in this body right now. Okay, and then just check out your mind, check out the activity in your mind or lack of it. So this awareness is of the standing body, the tingling in the body and around the body, the breath, and the quiet mind. Okay, so the awareness is like the breath body, it's bigger. Okay. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Go ahead and break your stance if you like. Loosen up a little bit. So body, breath, and mind. And so as we're doing with these movements, we want to be very aware of the body and the breath, but not too concerned with whether we're breathing in or out. It's just we're moving with the breath. Okay. All right. Let's just kind of loosen up a little. And just as a note, if you do sitting meditation, if you're like me, it takes a long time to get into that state that we were just in by doing breath meditation, because the mind keeps intervening. Too many thoughts coming and going. Eventually it'll calm down. It's just take a while. But with these practices, it happens quite quickly because we're standing and we're moving. And so there's not much energy for thinking. You know, thinking. There's not that much energy for it. So this very useful to do prior to sitting. If you have a regular sitting practice, that's great. But you can do this first and then just sit, and you'll find your it's much usually it's much easier. Okay. Okay, well, let's just bow to the directions just to orient ourselves. So I'm facing east right now. So now we do coordinate this with the breathing as we bring the hands up. Breath. And then bow. Okay, and then turn to the right. Turn again. Okay, and so now we'll do above. So looking, watching the hands. Extend. Breathe. And then touching the earth. And then within. You know, with some movements, I mean, I do want to say it's natural, like when we're bowing, for instance, if we're bending at the waist, it's natural to breathe out. You'll just, that because it'll force the air out when you bend. And that's fine. It's just some movements are dependent on that, like the ones we did at the beginning. Okay, all right. So just starting at the head and neck. And I find myself doing the head and neck stretch and or these shoulder rolls during the day because, you know, being aware of body, breath, and mind, I may be aware that, well, you know, my body's stiff or it's tight, and that if I do this, it causes me to take a breath, and then the body then relaxes, and it just sort of reorients everything. So, I mean, I could say, you know, go through a whole mental thing and, oh, why am I feeling upset? And, oh, maybe it's because of this or that. Or just go to the body and say, okay, let's just do this. And then just release. Okay. And then let's just open it. So. Okay, now this movement will naturally cause you to breathe in as you open, and that's fine. I also, and my teacher, Ken Cohen, encourages us to do reverse breathing sometimes, just so that we don't get attached to breathing and moving in a certain way, and then it becomes rote. It just becomes a habit, and it's not very effective. So once in a while, you mix it up. So this is naturally an in breath. Well, make it an out breath. We become much more aware of that particular breath because it's not just the usual thing. And if you naturally smile at any time during this, it just means, you know, you're doing good. I mean, your body feels good. And so you just kind of naturally smile a little bit. And if you don't, then you can do it anyway. You can just smile. You can just smile, even if you maybe didn't feel like it. But that'll have, the smile itself will have an effect on the mood, on the body. Smiling is an important part of Qigong, actually. My teacher, Jack Lawler, calls smiling, he calls it mouth yoga. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, all right, and then moving down, let's flex the hips. And if this is a little unfamiliar, you're actually pushing your body with your hands. You're actually moving it. And once this becomes more familiar, then your hands are just along for the ride. In fact, I mean, you don't even need them there. But it can be useful if this isn't natural. to you to do this, but you don't have to have your hands in. And this is just so important for maintaining balance. And then circling the hips, circling the pelvis. You know, and this involves really moving the whole body just about. And whenever you do a circle, one direction in all this Qigong, then you want to do it an equal amount in the other direction. And just to keep that lower back and the hip joints, pelvis, just to keep it loose. And just by moving it and bringing our attention to it. And, you know, maybe if you start getting a little pain, you know, in your hip or lower back, I mean, just a little pain, you might try say, oh, maybe it's tight. This is something I do too, regularly too. And rather than, oh, I just have this pain. Well, okay, there's a little pain. Well, let's just move this and let's see if it helps. Okay, and the balance, just so important. And this is not just a body exercise, this is a mental practice. And by that I mean, so establish this visualization of this vertical laser beam of light or column of light from the center of the earth through the body up into the universe. You imagine it and feel it. Okay. And you maintain that mental sense as you so shift the weight. And so now we can actually feel and see that vertical line is now moved from between the 2 feet to over the 1 foot. And once that's there, it's very established. Then we can move the unweighted foot, or if you like, you could just keep the toe down. That's fine. But if you start feeling tippy, come back to the visualization and the sense of rootedness. Okay. And then before you just shift to the other one, pause in the middle just a second and shift. And then before you lift that, you say, oh, I can lift it. No, get that visualization down first. That engages the mind. If you're a little tippy, then bend the knee. This is not really a breath practice per se, and it's actually not really Qigong, classical Qigong. This is taught by Trisha Yu in all of her trainings and classes for particularly older adults or people recovering from something in order to improve their balance. So that's why I do it. It's just really effective. Okay, all right. Okay, very good. So now, as we transition, just be sure that you're staying loose. Okay. So a good way to start is with balancing heaven and earth, some of these movements. And so this is reverse cloud hands. This is cloud hands. This is a Tai Chi move. So this is reverse cloud hands. And now we're connecting the two, they call the Lao Gong. So if you bend your middle fingers where that touches the palm, that's the Lao Gong point, which is an acupuncture point. And that one's pointing up and that one's pointing down. Okay, so get ready. Notice the breath. And then with a breath, we're going to turn, switch. So the breath is organizing this. Okay, the hands remain directly in front of the center of the body. So we're turning the waist. We're not moving the arms. Okay. And then this brings us to another important element of this practice, which is balancing yin and yang. Okay. So yin is the earth, that's the lower one, and yang is heaven or sky, that's the upper one. And we're flipping them. Just move with the breath. And when you feel comfortable with this, you can expand it if you want. Just turn a little more, let it become bigger. The hands move. It just becomes beautiful and flowing. So this is cloud hands. So the movement is as if you're just being your cloud being carried along by the wind. Your hands are cloud. Okay, good. Let's reduce the movements. Okay, and then switch the hands so that they're facing each other. Now this is an internal practice, same practice, but now instead of earth and sky, it's balancing the movement of the energy in the body, within the body. And then this too, if you like, this can get very expressive. Okay, body, breath, and mind. You can definitely feel the body. Okay, and you definitely, the breath is moving, timing all this. If there is any mental activity, then put more attention into the movement. Do it a little, bend a little more, turn a little more, just increase the movement a little if there's mental activity. If there's not, then just be aware of the quiet mind. And then the awareness naturally moves from within the body to also around the body, because the hands are exploring and moving and feeling this area around the body, not just the front of the body, but the side, the back, above, below. And when we allow our awareness to move around beyond the body, then we're in this expanded breath body awareness. Okay? So you can feel the body, you can feel the inside of the body, you can feel the skin, you can feel the movement, feel all that. And at the same time, you can feel the space around the body. And you inhabit it. No separation. Okay. Very good. Okay, let's reduce. And then we end up with one hand in front of the chest, the other in front of the belly. Okay, now this is the middle dantian, this one, and the lower dantian. Now, you can place your hands directly on your body, but when you, and that's fine, particularly at night when you want to go to sleep. But if your hands are very tingly, you may consider whether you want to do that or not, because you can feel the area around the hands. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay, and then the upper hand resonates with the heart and the lungs, the chest. Okay, the lower hand resonates with the abdomen. And so this tingling in the hands is now, it's echoing in the body. Okay, and then feel the breath and let it extend out around the body. Okay. Okay, very good. Very good. So go ahead and break your stance if you want to. Loosen up. Okay, so one of the concepts of yin and yang is that you can't have spring without autumn. You can't have something without having its opposite. You can't have up without down. You can't have in without out. So we'll do tree in spring. And this is why there's reverse breathing, okay? So we do tree in spring in the classical way, okay? So we point down. When we begin, this is an in breath. We're breathing in, just like the tree is sucking up the water through the roots, breathing in, then breathe normally. When you get way up here, and so then before you come down, now you're going to breathe out. Okay, so in breath, breathe normally. Out breath, down. Okay, this is the classical tree in spring. Okay, now let's do this with reverse breathing. So we're going to start with an out breath. Breathe normally. We come down with an in breath. Okay, standing mountain. So we're going to begin again with the next out breath. Wait for the in breath, then go down. Okay, and then just rest. So there's usually some resistance to this. It's like, I don't like this. This doesn't feel natural. That's fine. That's normal because it's something different. But within tree in spring, there is tree in autumn. Okay, so this is a deeper practice. So if we start within, so we're breathing in, spring, birth. What does a newborn baby do? Breathes in, right? So breathe in, but we're going to do it the other way. So we're going to start by breathing out. We know it's spring, and we also know that there is autumn within it. Okay. And what we want is to become neutral so that you can be breathing in or out, and it doesn't matter. Okay. Now this takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of doing, but this is teaching the Dharma through the body, and sometimes it's counterintuitive or even paradoxical. Okay. All right, now let's do tree in autumn. So the classical tree in autumn. Put the palms forward, just sit down. So this would be an in-breath and an out-breath as all the sap goes down into the roots. So in. It's very good, very natural, feels really good, and there's not a thing wrong with it. It's perfect, wonderful practice. The tree breathes out. You know, the last thing we do is we breathe out, we die. The tree is going into hibernation, kind of a death, okay? But now, let's do it the other way around, okay? We know that it's tree in autumn. There's also, inside that is tree in spring. So start with an out breath. So take an in breath. And then with the out breath, and as you go down, that's an in breath. So suddenly the movement is new. It's not just rote. You can reverse the up and down too. Okay, and then we get to the point where we don't mind. We don't mind whether we're breathing in or out. We're just breathing, we're just moving with the breath. We don't mind, in a sense, if it's spring or autumn, if it's in breath or out breath, it's coming or going, if it's birth or death. This is equanimity. Let's do a couple more. Okay, and when you're finished, then, yeah. And just notice body, breath, mind. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and bring up our stool, cushion. And then just settle into the sitting. You don't have to rigidly assume a posture, just sort of settle into it and it'll come. And notice the body, feel the body. And feel the movement of the body with the breath. Just notice, just glance at the mind, sort of just notice the mind. Okay, notice the space around the body. All right, and let's for the next breath, imagine breathing in through the pores of the skin, breathing out through the pores of the skin. So there's less separation between inside the body and around the body. We're simultaneously aware of inside the body and around the body. And let's let the body, just imagine the body expanding either with the in-breath or the out-breath, and then compressing. And your awareness also can move from inside the body to around the body. So maybe in out breath, you're aware of the space around the body. In breath, you're aware of the body and inside the body. Especially behind you. So there's inside the body, there's outside the body, there's in breath and there's out breath. Okay, and rest in awareness. The awareness is within the body and around the body at the same time. And then let go of in breath and out breath, and let go of inside and outside. And there's movement and there's stillness. Both movement and stillness are made of the same thing, which is awareness. It's just awareness taking different forms. Rest in the awareness. Okay, and allow yourself to smile a little bit. Let's take a few more breaths. And then just slowly and gently, sort of subtly, just move the fingers a little, toes, move the body a little, loosen it up. Okay, very good. All right, so let's clap our hands together one time. 1, 2, 3. Now, approach your face however you want to. If you massage the eye sockets, try not to touch your eyeballs. And you can do a little scalp massage if you want. And Chunyi Lin says, tug on the ears because there are a lot of acupuncture points in them. I take his word for it, but that massaging the ears is supposedly therapeutic for the body. And then massage the temples. Okay, and if you want to, the jaw. Okay, and then just sort of wipe down. They call this releasing excess qi. And then the traditional at the end of it is to make loose fists and tap your kidneys kind of in the middle of your back. And this is taught as a way of sort of sealing in the qi in the torso, and then massage the kidneys. So I'm just passing that along to you, as those are very, very ancient Qigong closing. So thank you so much for joining each other. Thank you for your practice. These practices in small ways make a better world. And so if you would like to vanish, that's fine. And if you would like to stay and chat, then we can do that. Change the view. Okay. Okay. So comments or questions about any of that, any of the teachings or practices?
I have a question. And that is the eye gaze during this. Is it closed? Is it cast down? Is it following the hands when they go up?
I would say yes to all of those, except maybe not closed too much. I mean, you can close, it's okay. It's not really a rigid thing. It's just if we close our eyes, I mean, that's fine. But what it does is it tends to activate the mind more, because we're cutting off all this stimulation, even if it's just light, even if we're just sort of looking down, we're cutting that off. So we're more internally focused, and it just has a tendency to activate the mind a little bit more. But I mean, if you're okay with that, that's fine. Eyes following the hands, definitely. But again, not to be rigid about it, but it can be very, very helpful.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
particularly if you're sitting and you're remembering a movement, sort of, you know, and you're bringing it to mind. If you move your eyes, you know, with the hands, it
Mm.
just very involved. Our eyes are really, really important, you know, in our consciousness, that we have a lot of attention in our eyes. So, so yeah, when you're doing doing tree and spring, you watch your hands, you know, and you look up beyond your hands, and you look down beyond your hand. Wherever the eyes go, the attention is going to go. That makes sense, or at least some of it will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, it's a great question, and you know, experiment with it, because it's very, very powerful. You know what you do, particularly when we're doing internal practices. We're doing Qigong and moving Qi. The classic instruction is you turn your eyes around and you look in. Okay, so you look inside and you watch the energy go up your spine, and it's uncanny, because actually you get to where you can see it. Or it seems like you can see it anyway. But it's just a way of focusing your attention in a very particular place, you know.
Have you ever moved your eyes the opposite direction of, say, your hands, how we were playing with doing the breath, the opposite?
You're blowing my mind here. No, I've never even thought of it. That's never been taught to me.
It doesn't seem natural.
Yeah. Well, it's not natural, but yet I know I have never tried that. That would be really confusing, and confusion can be very, very good. You know, to confuse, well, what am I doing? What, this is supposed to matter. The mind you throw a monkey wrench into the mind, and that can be very liberating, because then you just let go. You know, and it's just, am I breathing in? Am I breathing in? None of that matters. So we learn all these forms, and we learn them carefully and accurately, so that we can let go of all of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because ultimately the liberation isn't in these forms. It's in the absence of the forms. But paradoxically, we need to learn the forms in order to be able to let go of the form. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. A great question. And, you know, I'll try that. I think it'll confuse me right away. I'm confused a lot of the time anyway, so it won't matter. But yeah, that's great. That's great. Let me know what happens if you try that.
If I try it, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a question on your email about the dates. It said convening every 12 weeks instead of every 2 weeks. And then I think the automatic calendar even set it for 12 weeks. Did you guys see that? Did anybody else see that?
I noticed that when I just did it, and I edited it, and I made it. I made it weekly starting today. So I hope that that's corrected, but just ignore it. You know, it whatever it says. We meet every Wednesday at 6.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to send it out again, because I don't want to bother people who, you know, just more emails, you know.
Yeah, so, I didn't know if it was connected to the Zoom meeting actually being open on that day, but we'll find out next week.
Well, I'll look at it again, but I noticed that, and I edited it, and it said it's like, you know, 4 12 weeks, I think, is what it says. Every week for 12 weeks or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks for noticing. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah. Who is it?
It's Amy. Hi.
Amy,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, thanks. So great. Yeah, so great to see you. And thank you for this. Okay, you mentioned about something is good before meditation. It's just the shaking, like the twisting and shaking, like is that, or what were you saying is good before meditation? Because I do have trouble sitting with my
Yeah,
mind.
Amy, we were not built to sit, you know. I mean, this body is built to move, you know, and sitting is quite unnatural, you know. And that's not to say it's wrong or bad. It's just that the body wants to move, naturally, and some of us more than others. But so whatever you do before sitting that involves moving the body, whatever you do is going to be helpful,
Okay.
because it's going to release some of that energy. It's going to put the attention in the body so that when you sit, it's not just this crazy mind that's running and running and running. You've kind of calmed it down a little bit by putting your attention into the body. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
just asked you since you said that during the practice. I was like, wait, what's good for before? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Any and all of it is.
Okay.
Any and all of it is good before you. In fact, this doesn't have to just be Qigong. I mean, what I tell, a lot of the guys in prison, I can't sit still. Well, lift weights first, and
Oh,
then do your sitting practice, or do your
yeah.
push-ups or whatever. A lot of people who are confined, they do things like that, and then you can sit, and it's just magic. It's just wow. I can sit. I can do this now. I wish more people knew that, because people say, oh, I'm going to meditate, and they sit down and their mind goes insane.
Right.
And they
Right.
say, this doesn't work for me. I can't do this. Is no good. I can't do this,
Mm.
and it's a shame to lose, the insight that you gain from sitting meditation, just because you can't get into it, but this is a real entree. Any of these practices, or this an entree into sitting. And we'll do
Okay.
standing one of these days. The Buddha taught that there are 4 positions for meditation, sitting, standing, walking or moving, and lying down. So, and why it always has to be sitting. Why does it always have to be sitting?
Oh, I never knew that. Thank you. I
Yeah.
never.
Yeah. So standing is really, really good practice.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that sometime. And of course, moving, we're doing moving meditation. And if you go on retreat, you'll probably do walking meditation. It's very beneficial
A
too.
lot of
But
that. Yeah.
people
Yeah.
they equate meditation with sitting.
Right.
And it's not necessarily so.
Okay. This is awesome. Thank you. I learned
Okay.
so much from you. Thank you.
Okay, good. I hope it's useful. Okay, anyone else? Karen, is it warm up there now?
It has been warm. Yeah. Today it's not so warm, but it has been really warm.
Karen is way north. Karen in Wisconsin, right? So
I'm in the UP of Michigan.
oh, sorry.
No worries. That's pretty close.
Yeah,
Um,
well, yeah.
I just wanted to say thanks again. It's nice to be back, and I appreciate the questions and the answers too. And also really love the concept of switching the breathing and how the tree in autumn is in the tree in spring. That's just kind of, I'm going to have to sit with that one for a while.
We get so attached, don't we? I do. I mean, I get so sick of winter, and I just gotta have, but it's also fleeting. I mean, look at all the changes that have happened already in the spring. If you have a garden, look at what's bloom. It all goes really fast. And just, yeah, this is all going to be white and cold pretty soon, right? But then it's going to be warm and. And so, you've been through enough of these cycles, and you just say, oh, what does it matter?
I like that you make a connection with equanimity.
Yeah, equanimity, but it does matter, you know. I hate this damn cold, you know, but then you take a breath and you say,
Thank you.
okay, all right. All right. Well, have a good night. Have a good week. And yes, we will be here next Wednesday. And I'm going to go and double check that Zoom, what that says on that Zoom. Be sure it's right. Okay. See ya.
Thank you, Stephen.